Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back. Our lesson today is titled Song Part 2. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the rule of the past simple tense and use the past simple tense in speaking and writing. Are you ready to start our lesson? Very good, my dears. Let's begin by answering the question, what is the past simple tense? Can you tell me? Excellent! We use the past simple to talk about something that happened at a certain time in the past. Now, let's check out some examples in the past tense. What did you do in the zoo last weekend? Can you help me answer the question? Let's look at the first picture. What can you see? Excellent! We talked to the parrots last weekend. What else did you do last weekend? Look at the picture. Fantastic! I walked with the horses last weekend. That's correct, my darlings. Let's check out some verbs and their form in the past tense. We will begin with the verb talk. Can you give me an example using the verb talk in the past tense? Wonderful, my dears. We talked to the parrots last weekend. Let's move on to another verb, the verb walk. Can you give me an example in the past tense? Very good, my darlings. I walked with the horses last weekend. Let's check out one more example using the verb play. Can you give me an example in the past tense? Excellent job! I played with my sister last weekend. Now, check all the verbs in the past tense. What can you notice? Can you tell me? Excellent job! The verbs in the past end in ed. You were great, my dear. Now, let's read the lookbox together to find out the rule for today. Look at the following example. I, you, he, she, it, we, they played with the dolphins yesterday. What can you notice? Excellent! The verb played ends in ed because it is in the past. And the word yesterday shows us that the action happened in the past. Great job, my darlings! Now, we will look at some sentences, and I want you to tell me, what can you notice? Our base forms of the verbs will be stay, cry, stop, and dive. Let's start with the verb stay. Our example in the past tense will be I stayed at home last weekend. What can you notice about the verb stayed? How did we form the past tense? Can you tell me? Very good. We formed the past tense by adding ed to the verb stay. Now, let's look at another example. In this example, we will be using the verbs cry and stop. Let's read the sentence in the past together. I cried a lot last week because I stopped seeing my friends in the class. Now, let's begin with the verb cry. Can you tell me, how did we form the past tense of the verb? Very good. We did so by erasing the Y and adding IED to form the verb cried. Excellent job, my dears. What about the verb stop? Can you tell me, how did we form the past tense of the verb? Very good. We did so by doubling the last consonant and then adding ed to the verb. Fantastic job, my dears. Let's look at another example. This time we will be using the verb dive. Let's read the sentence together. The boy dived in the deep ocean with his instructor yesterday afternoon. Now, can you tell me, how did we form the past tense of the verb dive? That's correct. We formed the past tense of the verb dive by adding D at the end of the verb. Great job, my darlings. Let's find out the rule together. As we have already learned in this lesson, most verbs take ed at the end in the past simple form. For example, the verb walk changes into walked. However, in the case of verbs ending in e, we only add d at the end of the verb, as we have already seen with the verb dive that changes into dived. Now, let's look at verbs ending in y. If a verb ends in a consonant plus y, we remove y and add ied at the end of the verb, as we can see with the verb cry that changes into cried. However, if the verb ends in vowel plus y, we leave the y and only add ed at the end of the verb, as we can see with the verb play that changes into played. Finally, we will look at verbs with one syllable that end in one vowel plus one consonant. In this case, we double the last consonant in the verb before adding ed at the end. For example, the verb stop changes into stopped. Great job, my dears. Now tell me, can you think of any other verbs that can be changed into IED or doubled? Can you give me any examples? Great job, my dears. In the case of verbs that can be changed into IED, we have the verb try that changes into tried. We also have the verb fry that changes into fried. However, in the case of verbs that can be doubled, we have the verb hop that changes into hopped. And we also have the verb clap that changes into clapped. Wonderful job, my dears! It is now time to practice what we have learned so far. We will do so by opening our workbook, page number 97, to complete activity number 2. Now, in this activity, we have to look at the pictures, read the sentences, and complete with the correct form of the verb. The first one is solved for you. I played basketball yesterday afternoon. Let's move on to number 2. They watched TV yesterday. Can you tell me what is the correct form of the verb? Excellent! It is watched. They watched TV yesterday. Number 3. Amir talked to Khalid yesterday morning. What is the correct form of the verb? Fantastic! It is talked. Amir talked to Khalid yesterday morning. Number 4. Tina visited her granddad yesterday. Can you tell me what's the correct form of the verb? Very good. It is visited. Tina visited her granddad yesterday. Number 5. They cleaned their room yesterday morning. What is the correct form of the verb? Very good. It is cleaned. They cleaned their room yesterday morning. Number 6. They walked to school yesterday. Can you tell me what is the correct form of the verb? Fantastic! It is walked. They walked to school yesterday. Great job, my dears! It is now time to open our student's book, page number 101, to complete activity number 4. This is a speaking activity. Let's say together. Can you help me form a sentence in the past using the verb talk? Very good. Last week, I talked to my friend Jack at school. Let's practice some more. Can we form a sentence in the past using the verb help? Fantastic! I helped my father fix the car yesterday. Let's say together. Can you help me form a sentence using the verb wash? Excellent! I washed my clothes last night. Let's practice some more. Can you help me form a sentence using the verb watch? Very good! I watched TV last night with my brother. Let's practice some more. Can you help me form a sentence in the past using the verb walk? Wonderful! I walked in the park with my friends last weekend. Let's practice one more time. Can you help me form a sentence in the past using the verb visit? Excellent! I visited my uncle last Saturday. Excellent job, my dears! Now it's time to write. Let's open our notebook and write 2 sentences to answer the question, what did you do last weekend? Can you tell me? Very good, my dears. We have now reached the end of our lesson for today. I hope that you learned how to use the past simple correctly. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.